Oh gosh, hold on to your pants. We're flooring it. We are foot on the floor. We're doing 40. What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And today I thought we'd do a little experiment, because if you look all over the TRX forums, the Facebook groups, everybody's talking about fuel economy. Now there's two different groups of people. One person saying, how do I get a little bit better fuel economy? And then the other group of people is saying, you bought a TRX, why are you worried about fuel economy? And I guess I don't really care one way or the other, but I thought I could do a little experiment for science here with my TRX. Now I've been driving this daily now for a few weeks now because I've been doing some vehicle rearranging in the garage. So the TRX is in daily driver status for myself, at least, ever since we got that cylinder head issue taken care of. So it's been in daily driver status for, like I said, a few weeks. We're gonna jump in and see what kind of fuel economy I'm getting. Now my drive is pretty short, not a lot of highway, just kind of some stop and go. So it's pretty poor fuel economy, but I thought it would be interesting. We're gonna go ahead, stick this thing in valet mode, reset the fuel economy, drive it for the week and see, does it do anything better? Is it gonna get 1 to what mile per gallon better? Or is it still just a big, huge, heavy brick that's gonna take a lot of fuel to move it down the road? I honestly have no idea. Now, I'm gonna have to wait a full week to figure out this little test experiment. You guys hopefully are just gonna be able to keep watching and figure out what the results are. So let's jump into the truck. We'll get this thing in valet mode and we'll talk about kind of what we're gonna do. So now that you've got your truck started up, I guess I need to talk about my fuel economy first, and let me jump down through the pages here and see what kind of fuel economy I've been getting. Now, like I said, I do have a relatively short non-highway drive, I guess. So I'm sitting here averaging 9.4 miles to the gallon. Now, I've gotten considerably better fuel economy out on the highway. On a longer road trip, I've gotten 13-ish, high 13s unloaded going down the highway at speed. So don't get me wrong, the truck doesn't just always get 9 miles to the gallon, but in the last few weeks, in my relatively short-ish, not a lot of highway driving, I'm getting 9.5 miles to the gallon. So that's what we are going to see if we can do today. Change, I have no idea. We'll find out together. So first things first, typically you're going to be on your media screen, and from your media screen, the quickest way to get to valet mode is just to reach over and hit your TRX button for a quick second. Pulls up your drive modes screen. Now from there, this is on a 21 with Uconnect 4, with a Uconnect 5 for 22s. It's all just a little bit different, but it's still going to work the same way. We are going to reach down here and hit valet mode. Now, obviously it says valet mode will limit the performance of your vehicle, require a PIN number for activation and deactivation. Do you want to enter the neutered valet mode? And we are going to say yes. It's going to ask for a PIN code. Now I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, because I'm not really doing it for security purposes. We're just doing it for this test. So the truck is reducing engine power, launch control disabled, street transmission, paddle shifters turned off, street stability, and so forth. You understand, it is just neutering it down to, yeah, just a truck, just gonna be driving. So as we can see, we've got valet mode deactivated here. I think we can close out of that and at least still have our radio. But if we come over and look at our instrument cluster, you can see right down here for our drive mode, it says valet mode right there, right next to our Prindle display. So last but not least, I am obviously still in that fuel economy screen. I am going to press and hold the OK button, which will clear out our fuel economy. And it's now just calculating from sitting here at idle. That's why it's already dropped down to 8 miles to the gallon. Again, another telltale is that we've got valet mode activated. Press here to exit, and that's when it comes up with that PIN number that you would obviously need to know. So I think I've played with valet mode one time, just just putting it in and out of it. I don't think I've actually driven this thing on the street for any amount of time in valet mode. And I'm kind of interested, is it even enough power to move down the highway? Can I merge onto a 60-mile-an-hour road without being rear-ended? And I honestly don't know the answer to that. So we're gonna go out on my kind of normal trip to work here and see, is this even safe to drive down the highway? I am pulling away here from the house, and so far it feels kind of normal and very normal light acceleration. Yeah, it's moving fine in the neighborhood at least. Now, one thing that's kind of disappointing is all of the other Hellcat powered vehicles, whether it be Charger, Challenger, Durango, Trackhawk, even some of the SRT stuff, in the drive mode settings, you know, had the sport and track and all of those, but there was a eco setting. Now, no, that's not very cool having an eco setting on your super high horsepower racing vehicle, but it was kind of a nice feature that you could click it into eco mode if you were trying to get slightly better fuel economy and not be completely neutered like you are in valet mode, where you can't change anything, modes, traction control, whatever. But for some reason the TRX guys didn't think it was a good idea to put the eco mode on the trucks. Why? It just add another drive mode. It's another feature you could claim, but they didn't add it. So the only way we TRX guys are going to be able to do this is in valet mode. Now I am pulling out onto a side road here, and yeah, it feels a little delayed on shifting. Ooh, gosh, okay, I'm rolling into the throttle and it's doing nothing, but I'm doing 45 miles an hour, I'm doing 50-ish. It's pretty neutered, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm safely up to speed now. We're doing 50. Now, my whole thought here was to pretty much try and drive it the same as how I've been driving for the last few weeks. Don't baby it anymore, don't drive any harder, just drive it like I've been doing. Now, yes, I've done some hard pulls occasionally, but just drive it how I would normally drive it to work and report back to you guys and see, oh my gosh, I got 15 miles to the gallon. This is the saving mode for people that want to get a little bit better fuel economy during the week, but still be able to play on the weekends. Or again, is it even going to do any difference? So I'm gonna have to play with this thing all week and be very disappointed on the performance, and hopefully nobody pulls up next to me and knows what it is and wants to race, because I'll be in valet mode and I can't cheat on you guys. I gotta keep this going for the week, or at least as long as I can. So I think we'll do one more decent acceleration onto the main highway here heading to work, and we'll see how this thing works for the week. All right, boys and girls, we are going to do a hard acceleration here onto the highway. Oh gosh, hold on to your pants. We're flooring it. We are foot on the floor. We're doing 40. We're coming up hot on 60, excuse me. And it's bad. Okay, it's less powerful than just a normal Hemi 8-speed truck. It's it's really neutered. You really needed to hold on to your phones or computer monitors or whatever you're watching on, because I was pretty aggressive. I don't know if you could feel, but that that was really bad. That was pretty wild. Some guys have said it kind of feels like the supercharger's turned off, but honestly, that feels even less powerful. That feels extremely underpowered. But I mean, I did accelerate up to highway speeds in a normal amount of time. I mean, is it gonna be any slower than the random whatever 200 horsepower car next to you? No. But is it gonna be painful for a week driving this thing with absolutely no power? Yes. All right, guys, we got a little mid-week, into the week update here. And there's been a lot of talk on the TRX groups that no one really knows how much horsepower the valet mode knocks it down to. In a normal Hellcat, in the eco mode, you have 500 horsepower, but then in valet mode, I believe they were 300 horsepower. Now, and again, no one really knew what the TRX Valet Mode knocked it down to, but I think I figured out how to tell, and it's pretty bad. What I thought I would do is throw it on the engine power screen, and we're gonna do a hard acceleration onto the highway here, obviously wide open throttle, and we'll see what it gets up to. All right, we're rolling onto the power. Now, if you could see, it goes right up to 197, 195. That hit 195. So I have no idea how accurate or not the engine power screen is on the dash, but I've got to imagine it's pretty close-ish to what it's actually doing. So if that is correct, in Valet Mode, a TRX is neutered down to about 200 horsepower, and at that point a V6 normal Dodge Ram is going to absolutely annihilate you. This thing is pretty bad to drive, I'm not gonna lie. For instance, just driving here down the road, I came up to a slight incline over this overpass. The truck literally had to downshift into 6th gear. I've got my gear indicator turned on down here, but it's had to downshift into 6th gear even to make it up over this extremely slight incline. Now we're going back down and it's in 8th gear, but there is a teeny incline coming up, and I guarantee this thing's going to jump down multiple gears. So we're in 8th gear, it just downshift to 7 to 6 just to maintain 67 miles per hour, and that is outrageous. Well guys, I lasted almost a full week with the neutered Valet Mode 200 horsepower TRX, and we figured out a few things. Now, I've already obviously kind of snuck a peek at the fuel economy, but one thing that we did obviously find out is that in Valet Mode, these trucks are making roughly 200 horsepower as long as that horsepower screen on the performance pages is correct. So it is extremely underpowered. It is extremely not fun to drive, and this is the first time I've probably ever hated the truck. It's been a pretty miserable week driving this thing, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to see, did it do anything for fuel economy? So I guess we just need to get in the truck, look at the screen, and see what the results are. So guys, jumping into the truck here, you can see I still have Valet Mode turned on, but what we want to take a look at here is the fuel economy, and yeah, 9.2 miles to the gallon, which is obviously even more horrible than it was before Valet Mode. Now let me quickly take this thing out of Valet Mode before we get back out of the truck and talk about this. But to jump back out of Valet Mode, we are going to press here. It's going to ask for our PIN number, which we just made 1, 2, 3, 4. And Valet Mode deactivated. I have a TRX again. So now that we're back out of the truck, I guess I wanted to talk about what the results obviously were. 9.2 miles to the gallon. The truck before was showing 9.4, 9.5 miles to the gallon. So we got worse. And yes, my drive to and from work is relatively short and there's not a ton of highway, but I tried to drive the truck identically. I remote started it the same amount of times. I drove it the same way. Obviously, it was considerably less powerful, but I think the engine was working 10 times as hard just trying to go down the road. If you guys saw in that clip a little bit earlier, just moving down the highway, the truck was having to downshift into 6th gear to even maintain 67 miles an hour. That's outrageous. Obviously, you guys know these trucks will go in 8th gear and just go right down the road. But with 200 horsepower, the thing barely moved down the road. It was labored. It felt like it wasn't even good for the truck. You could just feel it working. You could feel the transmission downshifting multiple times, then to upshift, then to downshift. It didn't feel good for the truck. Now, obviously it wasn't doing any damage, but it had no power. So it was using all of those 200 horsepower all the time, trying to keep the thing at speed, moving down the road. it's not an option on how to save fuel in a TRX, unfortunately. But that's why I wanted to do it for you guys. We've talked about it a little bit on the forums and on the Facebook group, you know, detuning your truck. Will that get you better horsepower? And at least in this extreme case, going all the way down to 200 horsepower in valet mode, you're losing power, you're losing gas mileage because the truck is just working its tail to move this much of a brick down the road. So, does driving a 200 horsepower TRX save fuel? No, it actually makes you really hate the truck and want to get into a, I don't know, literally anything else because it won't move out of its own way. So, how to get better fuel economy in your TRX? I don't know. Leave it in the garage. It's funner to leave it in the garage than to drive it with 200 horsepower in valet mode. So we'll keep valet mode to service times or valet work, I guess. I don't know. But it's not going to help you out in fuel economy. So that's what we figured out today. And I hope to never put this truck in valet mode again because, sorry truck, it wasn't worth it. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed this interesting video, and hopefully you never drive your truck in 200 horsepower mode. And guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.